You wouldn't think, by looking at these tires, that they're going to end up on someone's feet. But that's the idea. This is the first stage of a project that's designed to get Kenyan children off the street and into private enterprise. The Wikyo Akala project is based in an area on the outskirts of Nairobi called Korogosho. About 500,000 people live there, with no clean water, no electricity, and virtually no job opportunities. Project leaders believe that can change. Two friends, a Kenyan and an American, created the project in 1995. Young men from Korogosho are recycling tires into sandals. They cut them up, attach a sole, smooth it out, add a little leather, some straps, and so on some maridadi, or designs. The end product, cool sandals. So far, more than $7,000 worth of sandals have been sold. The money 18-year-old Joseph earns helps him take care of his sick mother, with some left over for himself. Ecosandals.com. That's the internet website that's driving the international sales. And it's a .com that's on its way up, not out.
How did you get onto this idea?
Well, actually, it was really funny. I went to Nairobi on holiday. We're talking to some people, and this project came up a lot. So I went down to Korogosho, which is where it is. It's on the outskirts of Nairobi. It's kind of a slum, poverty-stricken area. It's a very, very bad area in some ways economically. But I went down and I did it. I met the boys. They were really amazing. You know, I mean, they were just really determined to do this project and be creative about it as well. So that's how I did it. And then we thought, hey, this is a great story people should know about. You see a lot of stories about Kenya, about Africa, and it's always so negative. And they were so happy that, you know, CNN was coming to do a story that actually shows something that the local people in this particular place, Korogosho, were doing something for themselves. So they were excited.
Neat. We want to get to where this all started. And I think we've got one of the co-founders of the company, or it's not really, I guess it's not a company, is it Matthew? Matthew Meyer is co-founder. He's in San Francisco, I believe. And Matt, where'd you get this idea? Where'd this all start?
Good morning, Jeffrey, Kira, and Zane. I got the idea originally. I was a student. I was a junior in college studying abroad, and I was working with street kids. As Zane pointed out, there's a huge problem in Nairobi of street children, and in Korogosho in particular, and I was just doing some work. I bought a pair of tire sandals that they sold in the slum, and one thing led to another, and a year later I came back with a small seed grant and started what is now a pretty large community-owned business.
Now, what can you tell us about your website?
Well, first of all, it's all volunteer. Everything at ecosandals.com is volunteer. Everyone working on the project outside of Kenya is a volunteer. So if people spend $20, spend $40 to buy a couple pairs, every single penny of profit goes directly to the community-owned business.
Tell us about, we actually went to the section here that tells us about the community. Of course, we saw a bit about it because of Zane's piece, but can you go into a little more detail?
You're talking about, 300, 400,000 people who are living in huts, one right next to another, with dirt alleyways. There are often 6 or 7 people living in a one-room hut. There are very few job opportunities. There's a lot of violence, a lot of crime, very little access to health care. And so in talking to Kenyans, I felt like one thing we could do was try and create a market for a product, make sure it's community-owned, and get money there that way.
Matt, I wanted to ask you, when I was at the project in Korogosho, what really amazed me, that it wasn't just about the sandals. Yes, that was a big part of it, but another part of it was also about educating the boys there about computers. Having some sort of informal school was the ultimate objective of some of the people I talked to. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Well, Zane, as you know, in Kenya, everyone has to pay for school. And almost all the kids in Korogosho have to leave school after the equivalent of 4th or 5th or 6th grade if they're lucky, because the families simply don't have money to pay. It was, for me and for a lot of the people who started the project, it was somewhat unconscionable for us to be making sandals, supplying money to these now young adults when they didn't have the capacity, basic skills to read and write. We also want them to learn computers so that if it doesn't work out with our particular project, they'll have some skills to help them move on. What we didn't realize, Zane, is that beyond job opportunities and education, is really building dignity. And I think that's kind of what you sense there, that there's a lot of dignity and pride in that project.
And you can see Matt's Myers project here, and also you can see Zane Bergy on Inside Africa.
Thank you.
That's right. You want to tune in to CNN International. Thank you both so much for being with us.
Thank
what
you.
a
Thanks for
pleasure.
having us.
Asante
great.
Sana.
Thank you.
Asante Sana, thank you.